Welcome back to the Splash Thoughts podcast. I'm your host, Sammy. It's just another episode. Let's talk about how our attention span affects us being present and how TikTok relates to that. Because I don't know about you guys, but TikTok and short form content has become so popular these days to the point where we just mindlessly scroll. You know the deal. You're on your phone all the time. One of the things I notice is like if you deal with anxiety and you are always on your phone, one of the things I notice is we're not present. When you can get out of your head and in your body, it's very important. It's important to get out of your head and into your body, meaning get out of the pain that's in your brain and get into your body. The moment you get out of your head, you're able to exit anxiety. You're able to relax. You're able to chill. I'm like the average person where I'm always reaching for my phone. And when I'm reaching for my phone, I don't even think about it. It becomes second nature where it's like, all right, I got 5 seconds to think. Let me reach for the phone. I'm bored. Let me reach for the phone. I'm going to the bathroom. Let me bring the phone. And I was hanging out with my girlfriend and I noticed that she's nothing like me. She will literally use her phone like a clock. Like she checks it like, oh, what time it is. And then she puts it back. I'm like, wow, I'm so in the matrix that would probably never be something that I do, mainly because of what I do for work. You know, I have a podcast, so I kind of got to be connected. I got to be up on things. I got to be in the digital world. And when you're a person who doesn't need to be in the digital world, it's a lot easier for you to escape and to not have to use that. I noticed that with TikTok, we have this hamster wheel that we're running on where it's like, all right, we're swiping through videos, short videos. This is funny. Ha. Oh, this is serious. Oh, this is something I want to learn. Oh, this is something about money. I want to learn this. Or, oh, this is a crazy story that this person online that I don't know is telling. Wow, this is so intriguing. I love this. Oh, wait, another funny thing. Oh, a dance video. Oh, drama. Oh, viral celebrity news. We keep scrolling endlessly. And with that, we just want to keep feeding ourselves entertainment. And then the moment we put our phone away, we have a hard time just literally sitting and relaxing and just chilling. I want to get away from that. I want to get back to being a human and not being this dopamine addicted person who just needs to just feed himself entertainment. Because being with somebody who doesn't entertain that, not even half of what you do, it allows you to be like, wow, I'm overstimulating myself. This person that I know who doesn't partake in it to the level that I do is very in tune with how their body feels. They're very in tune with how their body feels and stimulation and what that does. Because when you're overstimulated, you're not at your best. You are actually in a state of trying to fill yourself. You're stuffing yourself full of stuff that's not truly feeding you. And with that, it trains us to be in a state of anxiety, a state of always being on edge because we're not focused on what's actually going on right now. We're not focused on the present. We as a people need to practice moderation. There should be certain times where we access things like TikTok. TikTok shouldn't be the first thing that we open in the morning. It shouldn't be the thing that we watch before bed. It should be something that we do leisurely every now and then. You know, I've created a following on TikTok, but I'm a producer. I'm not a consumer. So someone who isn't a producer and they're actually a consumer, you have to think about, how do I feel about TikTok? How do I feel about consuming so much short form content? How do I feel about this? Am I improving from what I'm watching here? And how much time am I wasting being in the digital world versus the real world? The real world is actually much more fulfilling. The digital world seems so exciting because it's not real. It's almost like a fantasy land. You can create whatever character you want to be in the digital world probably a lot faster than you can in the real world. And it's very exciting because we as humans have never been at this point in history before. So it's brand new. We're still learning what is going on with technology. So it's interesting to see how we navigate this era of social media and social media consumption. It'll be interesting to see how we navigate this era of social media consumption. Because if you think about it, when we were kids, we didn't worry because we were always in the present moment. There was never a time that we weren't living in the present. We were always present. We were always doing something, touching something, feeling something. One of the things that people tell you to do when you've gone through anxiety is to ground yourself. That means using grounding techniques. That means all the 5 senses: touch, smell, taste, hear, see, feel. All these things is what helps you to get through anxiety. But it's interesting, when you're on a platform where you're scrolling all day, you're not as in tune with your 5 senses. You got one down: see and hear. That's pretty much what you got. And you feel the button as you scroll to the next video. If you were to apply that to real life, it would actually calm you down. So for those of us that have struggled with anxiety, take that into account. Get back in the real world. Be a real human being. Touch things, feel things, smell things, stare at things. Be present. Slow down. Breathe deeply. Relax your shoulders. I guarantee it'll make you feel better. All right, next topic is the Hollywood strike. Obviously, many people have heard that Hollywood's on strike. It's making all the news, right? The screenwriters and the actors are currently on strike in the United States, raising concerns about AI's impact on the entertainment industry. Fear of AI replacing human workers. The main concern driving these strikes is the fear that AI-generated characters will replace human actors in film and TV shows. We already have deep fake technology, which can create highly realistic AI-generated videos. It's been around for years. But now what Hollywood studios are proposing is digitally scanning actors' faces in exchange for one day's wage, allowing the studios to use these digital files indefinitely without consent or payment. And actors just want explicit consent and compensation when their likeness is used for AI training, but studios are willing to agree only partially. And then beyond that, you have a larger crisis where the entertainment industry can use AI to generate ideas, plot lines, and scripts. When I think about AI and how it's affecting us as human beings, AI has been such a big buzzword, right? We think about AI and we think about, oh man, it's going to make everything better. You know, some people are afraid. Some people are like, this is the future. We just have to embrace the future. Yeah, true. But why did we use AI to do things that involve human expression? It's not something that needs to be automated at all. Human expression is the essence of who we are. Why didn't we start with something we actually need? Like getting rid of pollution, feeding the homeless, getting rid of world hunger, cleaning the streets in dirty cities. Why are we using AI to do things that we don't need it to do? You think about AI and you think about technology, you think about robots. Technology likes to make things perfect. But when you think about art and you think about creativity, it's not perfect. It's never perfect. What makes us human is our imperfections. What makes art great is when it's not perfect. Honestly, accidents. Like, think about how many songs have been made on accident. How many late night studio sessions have artists made where they're like, I wasn't even planning on going to the studio. It's crazy. Like, I just happened to be in town and, you know, so-and-so asked me to come swing through. And then I was just like, oh, you got a record for me? I'll hop on that. ends up being the best guest appearance I made in my entire career. And you think about this stuff doesn't happen with computers. Computers don't go, oh, I was going to take a left and then I took a right and then I ended here. No, it's just using whatever we've done so far and then making things out of that. But you think about it. We make a lot of things out of struggle, out of pain. Now we have computers that are trying to replicate that and tell the human story without being human. Think about it. AI obviously is in the beginning stages, but why isn't it used more as a tool to help tell rather than to replace? AI is going to do a lot of things for mankind. It's going to help us with many things. But one thing it's not going to help us with is being human. What's more important than us being human? We are human. A robot is not. They can try to copy us until the end of time, but they will never, never replicate what we are. They don't have souls. They don't have spirits. There's something that is special about us as humans that no technology can match. They might be able to fake it, but at the end of the day, it's still not real. We are real. We are alive. AI is not. Even when it reaches consciousness, it's still not alive. And I think about myself as a creative. I've used, ChatGPT to craft certain things that I was writing or whatever. I've used AI image generation, but I've used it as a tool. You have to think about back when they did the Tupac hologram, right? When they did the Tupac hologram, people were like, yo, that's crazy. It's about to be a bunch of concerts with old people who are dead and we're all going to pay tickets to see this. Then you thought about it and you might be like, all right, I'll go see someone who's not alive. That would be kind of cool. What about somebody who is alive? Why would you want to go see a robot perform? That's just wild. Like, why would you want to go see a robot perform when you can see the real thing? And that's as far as I think that AI is going to go, is it will be able to help us create many things. But when it comes to the arts, I don't see it surpassing us to want to see the real thing. Eventually, everything will become kind of like the music industry is right now, where they found out a formula to make music and they just pimped it, where they go, oh, this is the hot sound. Let's come out with 90 billion artists that make this same sound. We felt like, oh my gosh, this is so boring. Like, why does music sound the same? That's why I think it's going to go, where it'll try to do everything that we want it to do. But then eventually, once something starts to work, everyone's just going to program AI to do the one thing. And then we'll all go, we just want someone who's not perfect. Like, we want someone who's not following the formula. We want imperfection. That's what we want. And you can't recreate imperfection. You just can't, because it comes out of nothing. Like, I literally can make a mistake and say a stupid word and then it becomes something. A robot's not going to do that. A robot's going to be like, how many words have anyone said since the beginning of human time? I'm going to copy what they've said, like from the 1800s to now, and they've only said these words, so I can only use these words. No, I'm going to make up some slang. Let's have some robots make up slang. Tell me we want to hear robots come up with slang. Imagine if we come out with a AI robot rapper who's like going to come up with new slang. How corny would that be? He's got no rep. He's got no streets to rep. He's got no cultural reference. That's where slang comes out of. Like pause or the hyphy movement. Like, that comes from certain things. You're not going to get that out of a robot. A robot's going to be like, what has people said before? Let me copy that. A kid can walk out of his house and come up with some new slang that we'll be saying for the next 2 years off accident. He could have dropped the ball and been like, ball drop. That means when you drop the ball. Like, it's us as humans, we're creative on accident. Like, we make something out of nothing. And I don't see a robot or AI being able to replicate culture. That's where I think that it will fail. They can do some cool things, but eventually they will hit a wall and humans will prevail and outlast. Now, let's get into narcissists. All right. So when I first started on TikTok with Splash Talks, I talked a lot about narcissists. Like pretty much every 4 out of 5 videos was about a narcissist. And, you know, when you talk about narcissistic stuff, and that stuff can get pretty dark. I still care about it. I'm still passionate about it. But one of the things that I always come across is people being like, don't call everyone a narcissist. Everyone always uses that word. Everyone's always calling people a narcissist. Yeah, but you have to realize that there's a difference between someone who has narcissistic personality disorder, and then there's a difference between somebody who has narcissistic traits / narcissistic tendencies. And when it comes down to that, you have to ask yourself, how would this person who may be a narcissist respond? If you point out that they're gaslighting you and you're like, hey, you gaslighted me here, you did this, what's their response? Do they go, oh my gosh, I don't know why I did that. Like, I do that sometimes. People have been telling me that I do that, and I feel bad that I do that. Oh, I'm so sorry. Like, you know, I'm working on that. I didn't mean to do that. It's just, you know, I grew up doing this, and so that's why it came out. Versus someone who has NPD will be like, no, you were gaslighting me. They'll literally try to sit themselves back in the victim's seat. That's what they'll do. They'll reverse it on you. You said I'm a narcissist, or you said I gaslight. No, you gaslight me. That's literally what will happen. They'll be like, oh, wait. Me do the wrong thing? No. I'm the victim. I'm always the victim. And you'll notice a person with narcissistic traits, narcissistic tendencies, they'll want to change. They'll literally want to change. They'll be like, man, I don't know why I'm doing this. I need to go to therapy. I need to figure this out. But this ain't it, chief. This is not it. I'm not going to live my life like this. Versus someone who has NPD will just make it your fault. And then they'll have every excuse in the book as to why they should be excused for what they did. They'll turn it around on you. And they don't change. You'll notice a lot of the people who are like saying they're narcissists, they won't want to change. They can't even view themselves in that negative of a light. That's why they wouldn't change, because they don't even see themselves as being wrong. Like, they see themselves as being the victim, and everyone else needs to bow down to them. So when people are saying, stop calling everyone a narcissist. Yeah, we're talking about the real narcissists, the one who actually are, the ones who are a nightmare. You go to any video that's about narcissists, right? You'll see horror stories in the comments. You can't comment on a video, stop overusing that word. Stop calling everyone a narcissist. Not everyone's a narcissist. You can't comment that on a post and not read the comments. Clearly, it's more than one person who has dealt with this. Meaning, it's almost like an epidemic. It's crazy out there with these narcissists. You scroll through these comments and you see these horror stories, you wouldn't believe how bad these people were treated. They're not regular people. Regular people wouldn't treat people this bad. So I view them as the ones who like have NPD as leeches. They'll suck the life out of you and it just won't change. It's just your turn. When they're picking on you, it's just your turn. If it's not your turn, they'll be so nice to you. They'll be so nice to you until it's your turn. So the people who have narcissistic tendencies and narcissistic traits, those people are generally good people, and they've just picked up some bad habits. They don't mean anything malicious by what they say or what they do. They just have some work that they need to do. Versus a narcissist, they know what they're doing. That's why they do it. And that's why they're all the same. Why they're all so consistent with the things that they do and how bad they treat people. Because they know what they're doing. They do it naturally. And that's the difference between narcissistic personality disorder and narcissistic tendencies. All right, so let's get into modern dating problems. One of the problems that we have in modern dating is lack of deep connection. It means people are very superficial. You think about the way that people, come across each other, mostly on dating apps, but there's just a lack of deep connection. And there's several reasons for it. One of the reasons is a lot of people don't know themselves. They don't know themselves. Like from my perspective and my experience, when I was younger, I would go after anything. That means if you're attractive, I would holler at you. I wouldn't care about what you were into. I didn't really care about that. As long as you were attractive to me, I was willing to approach you and be interested. But as I got older, I realized some people just don't work with me. Some people are boring to me. I had to learn myself. I had to learn I don't like to text. I don't like to text. Texting is draining for me. I learned that I am a quality time person. So why would I not spend quality time with the person that I'm interested in? If I don't like texting, but I'd rather be on a phone call, why am I not doing that? And when people don't know themselves, they will try to connect with people on a level that doesn't feed them, on a level that doesn't foster for deeper connection. And so when I learned that, I started to lean into that. Like, well, I need somebody who has depth. I need someone who's smart. I need someone who's artistic, someone who's creative. And once I knew who I was and what I should be going for, I started to laser my focus towards who I actually am and who God created me to be. And as I did that, I saw success where I was connecting on a deeper level and a person was worth more of my time. And they ended up fulfilling what I was looking for, which was someone to connect to, someone that I'm attracted to, but also someone that I connect with on a deeper level. We as people have to know ourselves. We have to do self-discovery. If not, we'll just be going headfirst into a bunch of relationships that we shouldn't be in. Another issue that we're having is in dating, we don't have great places to meet. In places overseas, it's like there's third places. It's places where it's not home and it's not work. It's a place where people come to hang out. And we don't have as many of those. A lot of places that we meet the opposite sex in, there's a lot of pressure involved. I always loved house parties. I went to a bunch of house shows this year. One of my buddies, Joan Jones, he plays a lot of shows. He's a great musician. He has thrown a lot of house shows. And going to these house shows, I would notice everyone's just open to connect. It's not like a bar. When you go to a bar, you feel the pressure. You just feel like everyone's trying to holler at everyone and you just don't know how to jockey for position. You're trying to position yourself. You're trying not to look corny. You're trying not to look like a fool. You don't want to be a creep. There's just so many things that you have to worry about. So many things that you have to think about while doing this. And it makes for too much pressure. When you go to a house show or like a house party, everyone's in a relaxed state. Somebody might know somebody from somewhere. When you're in a place like a bar, nobody knows anyone generally. And there's just much more pressure. It's loud in there. You can't hear. And it's not a relaxed environment. We need places that foster better connection, not just drink beer and try to relate, get wild drunk and do stuff. That doesn't make for connection. We need more places. We need to get outside. We're all on our phone. We need to get outside. Let's get outside, guys. There's just not enough places. Everyone should just be going and hiking and being out in nature or just doing fun stuff and then inviting people. And everyone should just invite people and break bread with each other at each other's houses. Just invite everyone you know, every single person you know. I'm pretty sure if we all just opened our homes to people, we'd probably have a better shot at dating people and better people if we were a lot more generous with our spaces and our time, especially for people who are in relationships. Invite your single friends, gather them. You'll have even more couple friends after they all get together. you know, then we have lack of effort. It's because we're all disposable. We're all nothing but a number. That means we don't really care because there's an option right behind you. Like, yeah, I'm looking at you, but the person behind you might just be better than you. So I'm going to take this pretty lightly because I don't know if I can get better. I might be able to get better. So why put in a crazy amount of effort if I'm not really that sold on you? And that's why we have lack of effort. We're all trying to protect ourselves. We're all not trying to get shot down. We all don't want to get rejected. So in this exchange, we're not always putting out our full effort. We're not going deep. Everyone's guarded. So with the lack of effort, you run into a lot of people who are codependent. We're like, well, if they're not texting, I'm not texting. They didn't text me. They only texted me this short. I'm only going to text them this short. I'm just matching energies because I don't want to look like the one who's really into them when I want this to be equal. I'm not going to look like a fool. But it's sad because we're not even putting in like effort. We're literally not trying. If nobody's trying in dating, then nobody's impressed. And we all think, well, if they would just do the bare minimum, oh, he did this, that's the bare minimum. Oh, she did this, that's the bare minimum. Guys, we don't even try at all. That's why we are rewarding it. That's why it's like, oh, well, that's the bare minimum. It's like, yo, reward that because we are literally at the point where we don't care. Like, we literally do not care. That's why we honestly should applaud the bare minimum because people are not even trying. They're literally not trying. They're clicking a button to like someone on a dating app. And that's all the effort they're doing. They're sending one emoji and calling it a day. So when someone actually does put in a little bit of effort, it's not even the bare minimum. It's not the bare minimum for our era. 30 years ago, that was the bare minimum. But we're living in new times, right? So that means that there's new standards. There wasn't dating apps 40 years ago. We actually had to try. Now we don't have to try. So that bare minimum that everyone keeps talking about, like, oh, it was only the bare minimum. He only did the bare minimum. He did that. It was just the bare minimum. She did that. Man, that's the bare minimum. Guys, we should be happy for that. I'm not going to lie. The stakes have changed. Technology ruined dating. So that bare minimum was bare minimum 40 years ago. That bare minimum today is quite the effort. It's actually a lot of effort, to be honest, because most people just ghost people. After a few back and forth texts, ghost. We're not even giving people chances. So when someone actually puts in the tiniest little bit of effort, we honestly should reward them because they're actually being humans. They're trying. Because most people in dating aren't trying. Not at all. Most people in dating are not trying. So that bare minimum, inflation has moved that bare minimum up for this era. It's a little higher than it used to be. If they're responding and they're actually showing up on dates, that's the bare minimum. That's the bare minimum. And it's no longer the bare minimum. That's the new effort. That's the new trying. And lastly, when it comes to dating, we've been in this whole mind state of try to care less than the other person. Do not care as much as they care. That's a trap, guys. Like I said before, when it comes to effort, people aren't even putting effort. So what good does it do for you to care less? Do you actually care about this person? Like at all? Like, are you interested? Why don't we honor how we feel about people rather than being so codependent? Why don't we honor how we feel when we are attracted to someone rather than to be codependent on how they are reacting? Obviously, you can get a hint if someone's not interested in you. But if you are really talking to someone who is definitely somewhat interested, why are you trying to care less than them? Why aren't you showing out? Show out. If you put in effort and they think you're corny, cool. All right. They just don't respect effort. They're not a person that you need to be with. Obviously, to some degree, don't go all out. Don't jump through hoops or jump the gun on certain things, but you got to put in some sort of effort. Not caring is not a flex anymore. It's not a flex. Do you want to be alone or do you want to be with someone? Do you want to show someone that they actually matter? How hard is it to let someone know that, hey, man, you know what? I am interested. I'm interested, and I'm going to show you that. I'm interested. I'm just going to let you know. As long as they make themselves available, you make yourselves available for each other. You don't have to act like you care less. Do you care about this person? Because eventually when you get in a relationship, you're going to have to show you care a lot. It's going to pay off though, because you do care. In this dating talking stage, yeah, we're all jockeying for position, but eventually you have to show that you care. Your effort's going to go somewhere. But if you never put in effort, that says a lot. It can't be that valuable if you don't put in much effort. So what I have to say about that is start trying, people. It's time to put in effort. Do something you haven't done. If you've been unsuccessful in dating and it just hasn't been going your way, switch things up. Put in effort. Get obvious. I used to not be obvious. I used to try to play the middle line and be like, well, I don't want to be too obvious that I like them, because if they don't reciprocate, then I could just act like I wasn't really into them, and they can't really tell me that I was because I didn't really show too much. But that didn't get me any connection. You're sending a message if you don't try. You're not that into them. You might be into them, but if you're acting like you don't want to care, or you're acting like you don't care, or you care less than them, you're actually showing them like, you know what? I don't think that they're into me. When you might be. So they might show even less effort because you're not putting in any effort. And you're acting like you don't care. So they probably treat you like that. You give off a vibe that you don't care. I used to get that all the time where people would be like, you just seem like you are good. Like you just don't need anyone. Like you don't want a relationship. You don't want anything. You're not attracted to anyone. And that was far from the truth. It's because I didn't put in any effort. I acted like I didn't care. So I say, switch it up, guys. Act like you care. Make it obvious. Don't make it vague. Make it obvious. And ladies and gentlemen, that's all we got for today's podcast. It's just another episode. If you like what you hear, please like and subscribe. Send me a DM. Let me know how you feel about the podcast. Leave a comment. Ask me to talk about whatever you want me to talk about. And if you want to talk about something, you need something, you're going through a hard time, click the link in my Instagram bio or my TikTok bio and schedule an appointment with me. And I'm here for you guys. I really care about you guys. And I'll catch you on the next one. Splash.